Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about background checks. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, "Hi Fred, I have a small question. I just received an offer from a company for a remote front-end position after signing it. After signing it, the only thing left to do is a background check before they send me my work equipment, and I start my first day at work. This worried me a little because I have an assault in the fourth degree misdemeanor charge on my criminal record from 7 years ago. The assault charge is not a major crime, but nonetheless I'm fearful of it stopping my employment for some reason. When tech companies do background checks, are they mostly checking to see if the work history that I put on my resume and LinkedIn is accurate? I should be very happy right now, but I'm fearful that I got this far for something and that for something that I did 7 years ago is going to come back and stop me from my biggest opportunity so far in life. I guess my question is, when tech companies do background checks, what are they really looking to see? My suspicion is, again, they're checking to make sure that it is that where I said I worked is actually where I did that I actually worked there. The short answer is that yes, that is exactly why they're checking, like they're doing background checks on you. I will raise my finger and I'll say there is one exception usually to this, and it is if you are working for a very specific type of institution. So different companies have different value systems, and the ones that have, well, if they have a need to verify because they're an institution such as, say, a bank or something like that, then yes, they will check your criminal record. The reason is not because they're looking to see if you're a convicted murderer or something. They're looking to, in that specific scenario, to see if you've committed fraud or economical crimes of some sort or similar, because basically it is one point, depending on the country now and their value system, it's actually a legal requirement. That's something they have to do. The same thing with certain governments, where they will go and do a background check and see if if you're a threat or something like that. And I actually it was actually fun because I was interviewing at one point I decided to not go through with it, but I did interview for the Swedish police, their IT department. And if you do that, for example, then that means, at least here in Sweden, that that's going to be on public record. So you can now, if you wanted to, go and check out my application. It's public information. And then the security police, or Säpo as they're called here in Sweden, they will do a background check. And that is now not just from like me, my personal perspective. It is from everything. They're basically trying to do a threat assessment to see if I am a spy or a person that is in some type of risk to the country. An example would be they might check out my family, or they might check out where I've lived, like all these sorts of things. Much, much, much broader than just if I have something on my criminal record, because that doesn't paint a good holistic picture of the threat level that I pose to the country. And so that's something you should be aware of if your goal is to work in a very specific type of institution. If you want to be in the military or the secret police or whatever you want to do, you can expect very, very thorough, usually, background checks. But for a regular IT company, it is as you say, or as you suspect. They're simply looking to check, number one, did you actually do the things that you claim that you did? And number two, did you have any problems in your prior places of work? These are the two main things they always check. That's why one of the reasons why people ask for references, because they're trying to figure out what type of person are you, what type of do you have a history or things like that. What I think is hilarious about this though is that they don't have the capacity, and this is usually, honest to God, guys, this is my experience. The companies who do this sort of stuff are the sort of companies who either lack a recruitment process that involves competent developers, or it's for historical reasons or some type of bullshit bureaucracy or similar sorts of things, or they simply don't have anybody who is capable of evaluating a human being from a conversation. Because the thing is, guys, if you have socially well-equipped software developers, they don't need to do a background check on you when you interview, because they're going to be able to tell based on the questions that they ask you what type of person you are. They're going to get a gut feeling from you. And that is usually good enough. You're doing all this background check and like checking references and so forth. That's the sort of stuff you do either if you have it as protocol or if you're very unsure about the person. And honest to God, like, unless you are desperate for developers, if you get to a point where you feel so uncertain about the profile of a candidate who you come and talk to, why are you even bothering going and doing the background check? Just immediately say no. I can't tell that, because if you don't get a good gut feeling from someone and you have to check this stuff out, then you are clearly not looking for this person. It's, as I said, honest to God, guys, I think this whole background checks thing is, for the most cases, the same sort of bullshit that some companies do when they try to give you extremely hard, sophisticated computer science problems and so forth. They're basically just doing it because they don't know any better. So you don't have to worry so much about that stuff. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you are a die-hard, super badass criminal or part of the mob or something like that, or you fled a country as a war criminal or something like that, yeah, it's probably going to be okay in the world of IT. As long as you have a nice smile, you're gonna be fine, because usually IT companies, they don't look for that sort of stuff when they do a background check. They usually just check out, and not always with such depth as you could probably think. They really only want to have someone else tell them that yes, this person will be a good fit here, and yes, this person has actually worked here. That's basically what they're looking for. With the exception of specific institutions where they're very concerned about you as a human being, and that's usually the government, banks, insurance, things like that. So unless you're going into that sort of line of work, go wild, commit fraud, adultery, whatever crimes run the Mexican cartel for all the world cares. IT is very, very forgiving with this sort of stuff. Have a great day.